Frank McKenna, Deputy Chair, TD Bank Group. Frank, thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
So as a former Premier of New Brunswick, let's talk Canada.
Okay.
In the new federal budget, Minister Flaherty says that the government's going to balance the budget in 2015, achieving a surplus. Your thoughts on his strategy?
Well, I think it's the right direction. I'm a big fan of balanced budgets. We saw what happened during the Chrétien Martin years when the budget was balanced. It creates a virtuous circle where money is then available to lower the debt if you want to spend it on that, which lowers the debt to GDP ratio and makes more money available because of lower interest rates or lower interest charges. Or you could spend it on lowering taxes, especially for low-income people. Or you could spend it on social programs, which could be an important national priority, or in infrastructure, particularly those that are productivity enhancing, again, contributing to the national wealth. So once you get into that virtuous circle, very good things happen.
You mentioned infrastructure. The budget has plans, a lot of plans for research and development. They want to give money to the National Energy Board,
right,
a new Canada Research Fund, autos, the Windsor-Detroit Bridge. Are these the appropriate priorities?
Well, they're important priorities. In the case of the Windsor-Detroit Bridge, this is probably the biggest trade corridor in the world. And any investment in that improves access to the U.S. market for us is good, and it has to be done as quickly as possible. In the case of money for research and development, this is the competitive edge that our country has to achieve. There's no doubt that our manufacturing sector is under a certain amount of stress now, and the only way we can win is if we have more value added in our industries, more knowledge baked into everything that we produce. Tom Friedman, who writes for the New York Times, I thought said something really insightful when he was in Taiwan once. And he said, "You're the luckiest people in the world. You have no natural resources, so you have to use your head." And I think there's a lot to be said for that. In Canada, we're in a global village where we have to compete with low-cost countries all around the world. We have to add more value, and we have to get more productive.
Global, let's talk a global issue, energy, Keystone.
Yeah.
The U.S. State Department just released its assessment report less than 2 weeks ago. We're in the 90-day comment period. How important is this deal to the Canada-U.S. trade relationship?
Well, I think it's important from two perspectives. First of all, the good news is that the Secretary of State report was positive, and now the test goes to the White House, and now the test for the next 90-day period, is it in the national interest? Well, I would argue that the biggest issue that has faced the United States for the last dozen years or more is their national security. And central to their national security is their energy security. And they might be feeling a little bullish now because they have a lot of shale gas and even tight oil. But the fact is they continue to need Canada as a resource. We're the biggest provider of electrical power, hydroelectrical power, of uranium, of natural gas, of oil, of every energy commodity. Canada is the biggest provider. We have literally hundreds of transmission lines going across the border, snaking across the border, whether it be oil or gas or hydroelectricity, sometimes coming this way, sometimes going that way. We're totally integrated. And for this one project to be stopped, and it creates an enormous vaporization of Canadian wealth. We're losing as much as $30 billion a year because we can't extract good prices for resources. So as a matter of national self-interest, we have to get this done as quickly as possible. And if we don't, I think it's a bit of a proxy for the state of the relationship between the two countries.
And let me ask you very quickly about New Brunswick. Its economy grew by 0.1% in 2013. It's challenged by weak energy exports. What's required for a turnaround?
Yeah, I think it's a bigger issue than that. Demographically, all of Atlantic Canada is just a war zone. A depleting population base, older and older citizens being supported by fewer and fewer young citizens. A resource base which has not been able to create as many jobs as in the past. So again, we have to invest in knowledge. We have to extract our resources and make maximum use of them. But we also have to invest in knowledge and become a more knowledge-rich, competitive economy.
Frank, thank you so much for joining us. We'll have to leave it there.
Thank you.